Hey, so good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our e-learning session, Elder Abuse Awareness and Prevention, a Closer Look. This e-learning session is co-provided by Momiji Healthcare Society and Japanese Social Services and Yee Hong Centre for Geriatric Care. So before we begin, I have a few housekeeping notes. So this session is recorded. So please refrain from recording or taking photo of this session. And you will receive a copy of the presentation slide after the session. So you don't need to write everything. And you are muted during the presentation. So please stay muted until the Q&A time comes. And please keep your note for any comments or any question during the presentation. You can also type your question in the chat, and we're going to pick up the question from there during the Q&A session. And it is up to you to have your video on, but we would be very appreciated if you could turn on the video, so it will be more wonderful for guest speaker to interact with you. And next up is we would like to introduce our hosting organization of today's seminar. So first, Chie-san, Marina, from Momiji Healthcare Society. Please go ahead.
Hi, I just having a difficulty. Marielle, if you could come back to here. Sorry about that. I can't somehow.
Okay, I'll go there now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, somehow I can't add the people to the spotlight. So hi, everyone. Sorry about that. So my name is Chie. I am a social worker at Momiji Healthcare Society. Now I would like to introduce my new coworker who will be taking over from me. She just started working last week, so she's still learning, but she will be taking over from me to run this session with JSS and Yee Hong. So let me introduce her. Sorry about that.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Hello, everyone. I was there in the craft room earlier. And yeah, so my name is Marinelle, and I'm the new program worker at Momiji. I'll be working closely with Chie. And well, as some of you or most of you already know, Momiji is a nonprofit organization. It's a supportive housing in Scarborough, and we serve seniors and also caregivers in English and Japanese. And also, I'm sorry, I'm out of breath because I ran from the craft room to here. And then it's okay. And then virtual, we also offer virtual and in-person programming for the seniors and caregivers as well. For example, we have the SIB, it's the Seniors IT and Beyond project. So if you need help with your devices, we can offer consultation for you, and you have to book an appointment. It's every Tuesday and Friday. And we also have the Torichi Bento fundraising. It's $15. If you order by July 7th, and you can pick up your lunch. This is actually July 12th. Sorry for the typo. It's July 12th. That's the pickup date for your lunch. And then the online spring concert, it's on June 28th. You send your RSVP to Chie by June 26th. So if you want to attend in person in the Momiji auditorium, you need to register, and we will have refreshment as well. And on June 23rd, we also have Seniors Month celebration. It's going to be a party, so everybody can join. Thank you. Nice to meet all of you.
Hi, thank you, Manel. So next up is Japanese Social Services. So my name is Rumiko from Japanese Social Services. So Japanese Social Services is a non-profit agency that provides counseling and programs in both English and Japanese. You can reach us by phone or email. And we offer a variety of programs for seniors available online or in hybrid forms. So for this month, on June 21st, we have a Craft Club online social on June 26th, and a singing club on June 26th. So Craft Club is June 21st, and the singing club is on June 26th. So it will be held online and in person as well. So if anyone interested in, please visit our website for more information. Thank you. Okay, so next up, Angela from Yee Hong Centre, please take away.
Thanks, Rumiko. My name is Angela. I'm the social worker from Yee Hong Centre for Geriatric Care. I'm with the Community Professional Services, division. So Yee Hong is a nonprofit organization which provides services to Chinese and other Asian seniors. So we do have long-term care homes, and also we have a wide range of community support services and hospice residents. So I'm with the caregiver support team. So we do provide support and education to family caregivers. And on the screen, you can see our upcoming events from this website. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Okay.
So, sorry, Rumiko-san, I'm having a technical issue. Are we seeing okay with normal? view?
Yeah, I think we're seeing okay, right, Angela?
Yes,
Are you
yeah.
okay? Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
Alright.
I'm having a difficulty with adding the spotlight. So if I cannot
Okay.
add the guest speaker, please add.
Oh, okay, sure.
Thank
Okay,
you.
no problem. All right. So now let me introduce today's guest speaker. So today's guest speaker is Mary Shikori from Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario. So Mary, please take away.
Great, thank you so much. I'm just going to wait and be able to share my screen in one quick second once you allow me those permissions. Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, there we go. Can everyone see my first slide all right? Wonderful, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you so much for inviting me today to speak to you on elder abuse awareness and prevention. Again, my name is Mary Shikori, and I am one of the prevention consultants with EAPO here in Ontario. Of course, tomorrow is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. So today's timing couldn't be more perfectly fitted to speak to everyone on understanding the prevalence, prevention, and awareness that we all need to play a role in understanding elder abuse in our communities, in our province, in our country, and truly around the world. So tomorrow, June the 15th, as we mark every year on the 15th of June, is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. At 1 p.m., Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario will be hosting a webinar. If you're able to join us at 1 p.m., please feel free to register through our website. It is free of charge. It'll also be recorded, so you're unable to join us for the live viewing tomorrow. The recording will be made available on our website for you to view within 24 hours. Tomorrow as well, for those of us in the GTA area, the CN Tower will be lit up in purple, again, to acknowledge World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and some other famous Canadian landmarks such as Niagara Falls also will be lit up in purple tomorrow, as this is a day to mark awareness around abuse across the world. Because we know abuse to our older adults is a serious and sadly growing injustice in every community around the world. A little bit about our organization, for those of you who may not be familiar with the work we do. We are the Ontario project that is mandated to support the government's implementation of the strategy to combat elder abuse here in our province. We are funded by the Ontario government under the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility, and continue to thank them for the wonderful work that they do day in and day out. And again, June, Seniors Month, so happy Seniors Month to all our seniors, as June we mark in Ontario Seniors Month every year. Our mission, and I always take a moment to say, not just professionally, not just my career, personally. My mom too is a senior in Ontario. So this work is taken from a very personal lens where I and my entire team want to envision an Ontario where all our seniors are free from abuse. They have a strong voice and feel safe and respected every day. And the reality, of course, as we know, we are all aging. So where we are in our lives today, we are one day older tomorrow. So the work is so necessary, so important for seniors today and for the seniors of the future. We bring public education and awareness to provide and promote information around elder abuse. We train frontline staff from a variety of sectors because not only do we want to teach frontline staff the skills to recognize potential elder abuse, but also how best to respond, as well as working with a coordination of community services locally, provincially, across Canada, and truly around the world. We know by building partnerships and promoting information, sharing and supporting our efforts together, we will combat elder abuse. Today's framework is going to take us through quite a few very key topics for us to discuss and have an overview to understand on the types of abuse. We want to talk a little bit about ageism and what that means and the correlation between ageism and abuse, as well as to help everyone to become knowledgeable on how to best respond and perhaps support an older adult who may be living with an elder abuse situation or a potential arising of a situation that could happen in their lives. We always want to begin, of course, by understanding, well, what do we mean when we speak about elder abuse? What is that definition? And to note, that definition comes from the World Health Organization. So this, once again, showing us this is not a community problem here in Ontario, not in Scarborough, North York. This is a global epidemic facing seniors in every country around the world. This is a single or a repeated act or a lack of an appropriate action occurring within any relationship where there is an expectation of trust. Sadly, what happens is that trust now causes harm or distress to an older person when that imbalance of power occurs. And this is sort of that visual I always like to take a moment for us to look at to help understand what that definition means. And now we can almost visualize to see when the abuser takes over and gains all control and decisions over the life of an older adult. It truly is, as we say, in any abusive relationship, it's an imbalance of power and not having that equality in a relationship. Elder abuse can impact seniors residing in all homes, meaning wherever they call home. If their home is in the community, if their home is in a long-term care setting or a retirement home, we know elder abuse can affect seniors in all home settings. Sometimes people talk about saying, well, is this new? Did this just happen? Was the pandemic the reason we were hearing more about it? And of course, all of us who have worked frontline with older adults for many years know that older adults have been suffering for decades before the pandemic. They have been dealing with emotional heartache, physical pain, and sadly, financial losses caused by someone they trusted and usually someone they love. The COVID-19 pandemic, I think, if we can honestly say, did give more of a forefront to many issues we've been addressing for years, but it gave us that more of a spotlight at that time in the media to highlight some of the systemic abuses we face and work with every single day. around the World Health Organization has conducted studies to show us older adults across 60 countries have experienced one form of abuse or another relating to I guess you could say, a reported total of 1 in 6 from 60 countries that the World Health Organization was able to do a sampling. Here in Canada, the National Initiative for the Care of the Elderly, our prevalence, which was done in 2016, at that time gave us a prevalence in our country of 8.2%. So that's an approximation of 1 in 10. The reality is we know those numbers are much higher because this is only based on reported elder abuse where seniors were able to come forward and report. And at that time, it gave us a national prevalence of 26% facing emotional abuse, followed by financial, physical, sexual, and neglect. Again, we can estimate these numbers to be much, much higher, with financial abuse right now, sadly, being the most common form of abuse that seniors are faced with every single day. And we know the reasons, and those are what we call some of the barriers that don't allow seniors to report or disclose. Now, this is never to blame. This is never to shame anyone. This is to say to our lawmakers, these are why we know the numbers are not a true representation of what is happening. In understanding, the abusers are sadly mostly coming from within our own family. And it is very hard for a senior to come forward to report when that abuser may be a loved one or their own caregiver. They may feel that shame, that family dynamic, and even sometimes sadly be in denial themselves or self-blame themselves that they are the reason this is happening. We also have to understand as we get older, things become sometimes more complex and more complicated, and that fear of maybe thinking we have to start over and move from our home or leave our community. These are some of the barriers that we can understand why it is so difficult to come forward and report what may be happening in the life of an older adult. And we know we are, as we say, in uncharted territories when it comes to our shift in population changes. This census that was last conducted for 2021 showed us that in the next 20 years, we are going to see a growth of the senior population by over 68%. These are numbers, of course, in Canadian history we have never seen. We are also going to see the population in the age group of 75 plus for the first time ever reach over 10 million Canadians strong. So these are some very realistic numbers that we know as we're getting older. The resources, the supports, the housing, the servicing, the healthcare needs to be put in place immediately as our population is getting older and will require more needs as we age every day across this country. In understanding that, we also have to learn that we need to begin combating ageism and these stereotypes that people think the way they do, this prejudice on how they feel, and sadly, a discrimination on how they act towards others simply based on one's age. Ageism is again the theme for this year's Elder Abuse Awareness Day tomorrow, as well as the convention through the United Nations with the Canadian Coalition on Fighting Ageism has been part of Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario's work, as our CEO was invited to the United Nations to speak with our Canadian delegation. By combating ageism, we will be able to combat many of the stereotypes that people think and feel and have, sadly, against older adults. Those impacts of ageism can lead to very difficult emotional and physical, sometimes pain to older adults when they're faced by being in an ageist situation. Sometimes they want to become socially isolated because they don't feel as if they belong or fit into society's norms. We hear many times of older adults who are looking to maybe re-enter the workforce or remain in the workforce that they have been in for so many years and are faced with employment harassment and discrimination, and are sometimes told, well, you know, you may be just too mature for this position, which is sadly a very ageist term, instead of saying, well, we think you're too old to do this work. And yet we know the value, the wisdom, and the absolute dedication older adults have brought to the Canadian workforce and continue to do so, as we need that wisdom for the younger generations as they are entering into the workforce. We also see the correlation where if a well-meaning friend or family member may want to push an older adult into doing something they don't want to do, you know, that can start off as a very delicate conversation where Mom or Dad, I think it's time to sell the house. And perhaps Mom or Dad will respond, no, I'm good, I'm not ready. And the adult child may say, well, no, that's not the answer I want to hear, and can begin, sadly, forcing or pushing the older adult into doing something that they don't want to do. And these are the conversations we work within here every day in trying to navigate and mediate and help families work together. We understand there are many risk factors that can lead to an older adult sadly becoming a victim of elder abuse. And this is not to say that these are all the risk factors, or just by being in one of these groups, it will lead to abuse situation. These are from the statistics and work that we see every day working with seniors across Ontario. And of course, in understanding, isolation is one of the largest risk factors for an older adult who is being isolated and unable to have any type of connection within their community, their friends, or their family, because the abuser is not allowing them to have any of that interaction with anyone other than themselves, because of course they never want to be found out of the abuse that is occurring within that home setting that could be happening. And when we talked about the abuser, as we said, we are sadly talking about the people that we sometimes love the most, the people we trust the most. The abusers are sadly typically those ones in our lives who know the most about our physical and mental vulnerabilities. And that starts with our own family, perhaps a spouse, a partner, a sibling, an adult child, a son or a daughter, or even a grandchild. We also see abuse that can happen from a friend or a neighbor, or even from those in a trusted position, from a healthcare provider, a lawyer, a physician, or even a faith leader. We see this when it happens, especially with financial abuse, as somebody wants to look and see how they can perhaps gain and take over a relationship with an older adult, because they may see themselves as saying, oh, there is a financial gain for me here. How can I best situate myself to be a part of that? The abusers can have a list of traits for helping us understand what could lead to the abuse to begin or to escalate, from themselves dealing with substance abuse, perhaps gambling or alcohol addiction, their own poor and physical mental health, having an ageist attitude by thinking they know better, that older adults shouldn't have an opinion, or not allowing an older adult to make their own opinion, and that lack of understanding the aging process. This is key when we speak to families and helping them understand it's about patience, it's about caring, it's about knowing as we get older, the body changes, the physicality changes, the mobility changes, sometimes the cognitivity changes, and we need to understand as we are all aging, that will relate to us in the aging process. And one of the key words, if I can always help and teach with everyone, and myself included, is always talking about having patience, compassion, and understanding that an older adult may require a little more time and to be there for them. And these are some of the traits when we speak about in trying to help understand and recognize what may lead to an abusive situation. The forms of elder abuse we will go over now will begin from our financial, the emotional or psychological abuse, physical, sexual, and neglect. And to sadly always note, multiple forms of abuse can occur at once. Financial abuse, we know, is the most sadly common form of elder abuse that is happening to older adults every day in Ontario and in Canada and truly around the world. This is the improper conduct that is done with or without the informed consent of the older adult that results in a monetary or personal gain to the abuser, and of course, a personal loss to the older adult. We also know frauds and scams target older adults every day as well. And we speak about frauds and scams and financial abuse as two very separate abuses that happen to seniors, being that the financial abuse is done with someone who is known to the older adult, versus the fraud and scam, we usually say it's done by a stranger that is targeting a senior because they feel they can defraud or scam them. Financial abuse is caused by those abusers that are known to us, that are perhaps using a fraudulent signature on a financial document for their personal gain, not paying bills that a senior has asked them to look after, but using that money for themselves. Misusing the power of attorney, again, that has been entrusted to them for property for their own financial gain, or pressuring an older adult in how they spend their money, in perhaps saying to them, you need to change your will, or any other financial documents that they want to benefit from. These are some of the signs and warnings that seniors we always want to help educate and be on the lookout for when we speak on financial abuse and what that can look like. And of course, we can understand what it can feel like when a senior is left penniless and sadly, even sometimes homeless, because the abuser has overtaken all of their financial assets. We know emotional abuse is always linked with every form of emotional abuse, with every form of elder abuse, because that emotional abuse is there to lessen the dignity and identity of one's self-worth. Emotional abuse sometimes can be the most painful of all forms of elder abuse, because we know the words can hurt when it is used to make somebody feel as if they don't matter. Some of the signs to look out for if we see a senior who's dealing with increased fear, anxiety, They're being isolated from friends or family, displaying any type of change in their behavior, their sleeping, or even their eating patterns, or they themselves become withdrawn from normal activities which they used to so enjoy and love being a part of, but now more and more they want to self-isolate because of the fear of the abuse being found out. Neglect is the failure to provide care and assistance that is required for health, safety, or well-being of an older adult. This can include an inaction or a pattern of inactions that could jeopardize that health or safety for a senior. Some of the signs to always look out for is if a senior is not being provided proper food or liquids. Their clothing or hygiene is not being maintained. Even being denied access to emergency services, to visit the hospital or have any medical treatment, or even being denied access to be allowed to enter into a long-term care or retirement home because the abuser wants to keep them at home because for them that could be a financial gain. And of course, leaving any older adult in any type of unsafe place without access to food, clothing, shelter, water, the toilet, or even having access to a telephone to be able to call for help if they need to. Physical abuse is any act of violence or rough handling. And physical abuse is not only the injuries that we are sometimes able to see, it's sometimes the things we're not able to see, such as over or under medicating an older adult, or understanding if an older adult has, a pair of broken eyeglasses or is missing their walker or cane. Why has this happened and where have these changes occurred in their life? And to understand if a senior is dehydrated or suffering from severe weight loss. These are some of the signs to look out for when we work with our older adults to understand what physical abuse may be happening. Sexual abuse is the non-consensual sexual contact of any kind with an older adult. And to understand sexual contact with any person who is incapable of giving consent, meaning they don't have the cognitive capacity to know the difference to say yes or no, this is also considered sexual assault. And as we always say, no matter what age, no matter our sexual orientation, no matter what relationship we're in, no will always mean no. And some of the signs that we've always looked for, especially as working frontline, as caregivers with older adults, is to understand sexual abuse could even be from joking in a sexual nature, any non-consensual contact of any kind, any receiving or sending explicit sexual photos, and any inappropriate touching that is happening to an older adult. In understanding the forms of elder abuse and knowing how difficult it is for seniors to be able to come forward to report, the guiding principles are here to help us to be able to best respond and support an older adult who may be faced with an abusive situation. We always want to ensure that we respect everybody's personal values, their priorities and goals, and their choice of lifestyle, and to recognize that everyone has the right to make their own decisions. When supporting an older adult, we always want them to know we're there to respect their confidentiality and their privacy of their rights. Because we know that abuse and neglect can happen anywhere to any older adult at any time. And we must respect that privacy when they disclose to us that if they're not ready to report, and they may never be able to report to the authorities, that we are there to support them for as long as they need us, and to, of course, offer support to the abuser to get them the help that they may need to put them on a path of healing. To always avoid being ageist, and to recognize the value that everyone has their value of their independence and autonomy. To ask older adults open questions so they can feel safe and have that conversation to build that trust and that rapport with us together. Sometimes the best disclosure is just being there and saying, how can I help? I'm just here to listen. Is there anything you want to share with me? I want you to know it's safe to talk to me, and I'm going to be here with you. These are the ways we know older adults can begin to disclose and reach out and know that there is support and trust and love within their community when they are ready and able to come forward to disclose what may be happening in their lives. Preventing elder abuse is truly a shared responsibility for all of us. At any age and at any time, I always say, never stop being active and connected in what makes you happy and what gives you joy. If that's from joining social programs, virtual programs online, to enjoy reading, gardening, going for a walk, continue the activities that make you happy and never stop doing them. Always try and have that contact with whatever your social circle may be, from a large circle, or for myself, it's a very small circle, but this is the circle that I know is there to help and support me. Knowing I have access, of course, to my own phone and checking my own mail. These are extremely important ways that we know we can remain safe, that no one has access to take away a phone from us, and that we are seeing our mail, our banking information, so we can remain in control of what is happening in our lives. Thinking about a power of attorney for our healthcare decisions. And when that time is right, that we decide whom we will choose to be that POA. If we become incapable of making our own decisions, that our power of attorney will follow our wishes set out by the power of attorney we laid out for our health care, and follow those and respect the decisions that we made. And always asking for help when we need it, because we never want to look at saying that asking for help is a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength to show that we do need some help and support, because we want to get better and we want things to always be better in our lives, to reach out to someone who we trust, that we can talk to about what is happening. Some resources, of course, to always have note of in Ontario. 211 is our Ontario directory that is designed to get us connected to any government and community-based health and social services across the province. It is a 24-hour-a-day service. It's free to call. They also have language line interpreters available. And what's nice is we're speaking to a real person. It's nice sometimes not to have to speak to an automated system. This is a real live operator from 211 that'll help connect you to any of those government-based health and social services. And another one, which I realized I didn't put the slide up, of course, is 811. And that is the Ontario Health Line. If you need to connect with a registered nurse here again in the province, free of charge, Again, anything non-emergency, because emergency, we always want to call 911, but 811 will get us to speak to an Ontario licensed healthcare professional or registered nurse for some advice, again, anytime, day or night. So 211, 811, and we know 911 always for emergency services. The Ontario Senior Safety Line is also available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for anyone who needs to reach out to speak about a senior or themselves who may be experiencing any type of elder abuse, or to look for any information, resources, or just to have someone to listen. The safety line is run by the Assaulted Women's Helpline and also is a free and confidential call anytime, day or night, and they are also able to access over 200 language line interpreters if English is not your first language. All these numbers, of course, are available through 211. They can connect you, available through our website where everything is posted with all the directory of information. And I believe everyone will receive a copy of the slide deck, so you'll have this information always available if you ever need to access it. As we close out the presentation, I just want to share a very short video that has been worked with the partnerships across Canada on how we feel as we are all aging every day.
How you treat older adults today makes a difference to your future. Someday, it will be you. Your words and your actions have an impact every time. Every time. Be wise in your choices. Be thoughtful in your actions. Treat people today how in the future you will want to be treated. Imagine yourself as much older than you are now. But you want to be treated like this? Think about it. Chances are the future you will want to be respected for your life experience, to have people who love you, to feel like you belong and have purpose, to feel like your life matters. And you are probably not alone. Yet in Canada, 63% of seniors say they have been treated unfairly or differently because of their age. Discrimination based on age is a violation of human rights. It's called ageism, and it's a big problem. We all deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter what your age. Learn more about seniors' rights. Visit Elder Abuse Prevention. EAPO is partnering with provincial and national organizations to help address ageism and prevent abuse, because working together across the country is the way forward.
Exactly. And we always want to thank and acknowledge the financial support of the Department of Justice of Canada and our workshops that we continue to provide, developed in partnership, of course, with the Canadian Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse and the Centre for Research and Education on Violence Against Women and Children out of the University of Western. So thank you so much to the wonderful work that these partners come together to bring. And we will be launching many more of these videos focused on elder abuse and the correlation of ageism happening together. So I'm excited to be sharing those on our website within the next few weeks for everyone to come and view. Again, our website will always have what we hope is the most important information for people looking for resources, tip sheets, webinars that we host. We make everything as downloadable as possible for you to come and be able to search and look at that information that you may require, from preventing and addressing financial abuse, our provincial directory of services, and a wonderful as well information booklet on protecting each other from frauds and scams that are targeting our older adults every day. So anytime, please feel free to come visit us at eapon.ca and have a browse around our site as well. My information is here for everyone as well to see, from my direct cell phone number, my email, and of course, our head office number also available if you do ever need to reach out and speak to someone regarding an elder abuse situation. All calls are free of charge and everything is confidential. And this information, again, it's on our website, and even 211 will be able to direct you there. But I'm at 647-354-8854, and our office is at 416-916-6728. So I'll just leave that up for a quick second, but I know everybody will have a copy of the slide deck, so no worries, you'll have all this information. And I want to thank you all today for your time. I hope this brought some awareness and some knowledge for all of us to work together in our communities, to take care of each other, to respect each other, and to treat each other every day with kindness, with dignity, and respect. Thank you so much. I'm excited for Q&A or any discussion or conversation. Thank you.